It's so easy to get lost in one of those, halfway relationships with your ex where you're not sure where you stand. At first, it's sexy and exciting, but soon it becomes incredibly draining because the person you love won't treat you the way that you deserve. And that is when you realize the truth. You can make your ex talk to you again. You can even go on dates, rebuild that connection, restart intimacy, and feel their love again. But it's all for nothing if you can't get them to commit to you again. And honestly, living in limbo this way can be even worse than just being single. But it doesn't have to be this way. You can make your ex commit to you again if you can make them realize just one thing. So to understand this idea, you first need to understand why your ex hasn't committed to you yet. Now, there's a few reasons that this happens that are fixable and a few others that can be a lot more difficult, but they do still come back to this one thing. But before we get to that, I want to talk briefly about your ex's feelings. So at this stage, you're probably wondering, how your ex really feels about you. Are they even interested at all? Are they just hanging out with you out of boredom or because nothing better has come along? Well, sure, there is something to that. People fear change, and so they maintain relationships that aren't in their best interests just out of momentum. But if you and your ex are sleeping together, you're spending serious time together and emotionally connecting, then there is more to it than just boredom. You can rest assured that they are interested in you, quite interested. They're thinking about the possibility of a relationship with you quite a bit. They've probably gone back and forth on it. They've talked it over with their friends, and they're just not sure what to do. Because just as there are things that are drawing them towards you as a romantic option, making you more attractive, there are other things that are standing in the way of commitment, making it less appealing. One of the best ways to figure out whether your ex will ever truly recommit to you is by taking my free quiz at breakupbrad.com/quiz. I recommend you try it out after the video. It takes just a few minutes. And like I said, it is free. So go to breakupbrad.com/quiz. First off, one of the most significant reasons that your ex won't commit is simple. It's because they don't have to. So if your ex is spending time with you, sleeping with you, even telling you they love you, but they just won't commit to being with you for real, then this is most likely the case. This happens to everybody, but in my experience, it does tend to be more common when your ex is male. Now, you've probably heard the old cliche, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? And there's actually a lot of truth to this. For those that don't get it, you're the cow and your ex has no reason to buy you, meaning commit to you, because they're getting your milk for free. And in this case, the milk is not only sex, but it's also love, affection, attention, intimacy, validation, whatever. It's not worth it for them to commit to you and take on all the responsibilities that come with a relationship when they're already getting all the benefits and all the freedom they could ever want. And that's another reason that they're not going to commit. They want that freedom. Sure, they like you a lot or they wouldn't still be hanging around you so much. But they also like seeing what's out there, what other options they have. And unfortunately, that does mean exactly what you think it means. Unless they've said otherwise, your ex could be seeing somebody else right now, or at least talking to them. Now, I know that this can be gutting to even think about, but it is possibly what's happening right now, even if they won't admit it. The idea that the grass is greener is really one of the biggest things that drives breakups. So it's very common for people to date their ex alongside somebody new. And yes, they are comparing the two of you just to see how you stack up. But don't despair, because it can actually be a good thing that your ex is dating around right now, as I'm going to explain a little bit later in the video. But it's not only freedom to date others that they're enjoying, but freedom to really just live their life the way they want. Basically, freedom to act without considering your feelings. And thirdly, they won't commit to you because they're afraid that things won't work out. And they have a reason to be scared, because the two of you have tried this before, remember? Whenever they wonder if you're ready or if they're ready or if the two of you can really make it work, they're going to think back to your breakup and what broke you up in the first place. Now, it's not to say you can't make it work this time around. There are certainly big steps you'll need to take and changes to make, but that's a whole other video. Because before that, you have to make your ex commit to you for real. And so we come back to the one thing that your ex needs to realize before they'll take that step. They need to realize that their life is going to be better with you than with anyone else, and that they're not going to be happy without you in their life. Now, for many of you, this is going to sound extreme or even arrogant, but it's the truth. As unromantic as it may be, your ex is weighing their options right now. Should they try to move on? Should they find somebody new? Should they be alone? Or should they be with you? And you need to make yourself the number one option for them, or they're not going to choose to be with you. It's really that simple. And it's not only possible, but it's actually simple if you follow my advice. So how can you make your ex realize that they can't be happy without you, that their life will be better with you than with anyone else? Well, let's take this step by step. And step one is confidence. If you don't actually believe in yourself and your ability to make your ex happy and improve their life, you're not going to make it through this process. If you can believe that this is the right path forward, then so will your ex. So if you're someone with low self-esteem or confidence issues, this is going to sound like an insurmountable task. So let me give you the shot in the arm that you need. First off, you have made your ex happy in the past. So this isn't some hypothetical dream scenario that you're dealing with. You have actual experience here, and so you can do it again. Compared to every other person your ex may see out there in the world, you have the edge because you've proven that you can do it. And second, they're already coming back for more. So despite all the negativity and drama that may now exist between the two of you because of the breakup and the aftermath, they still want to be around you and spend time with you. So whatever you're doing right now, it's working at least on some level, and you should feel good about that. And third, your ex has yet to see all that you're capable of at this point. They think of you as a certain version of yourself, someone they like or even love, but someone limited and simple. So part of this process is going to be about reaching your potential. And once you do that, they're going to completely flip how they look at you. Now, if you're struggling to build confidence, then you need to make some changes in your life. You need to improve, set goals, and push forward in your life. And if you can do that, you will feel better about yourself in no time. And I've made plenty of videos about this in the past, so I'll link to one in the description below and here in the corner for you to check out for yourself. But chances are you know the things that you need to do to improve your lot in life. So look for things that nourish you, that make you happy and give you a sense of progression, and then make that your focus. Do it right, and your ex is going to stick around just to see how you're changing and growing. One of the biggest issues that comes up when you date an ex is drama. And one of the ways that this drama is introduced is through the pressure that you both put on the situation. Remember when you first met? Things were intense, sure, but they probably felt more celebratory than difficult. You were a bit sweaty, but you were always excited to see them and get to know them more. But now things probably feel like they could go wrong at any moment. So what changed? Well, it's the pressure that you're both putting on things the second time around, because you know what you had and what it was like to lose it. And now you're so afraid to experience that all over again. And that stress causes all sorts of problems between the two of you. And this is why taking the pressure off is going to work wonders for your relationship with your ex. So stop going into every interaction wondering if this is the one where you'll seal the deal and get back together for good, or the one where they just leave you for good. Just try to be casual, treat them with kindness and warmth, and see how things go. So I know you want more and you can get it, but making that your sole focus is going to make you not a very fun person to be around, and it will make the relationship between the two of you strained and difficult. So accept where you're at and move forward. Remember, despite all the issues, you're two people who are deeply connected and who really care about one another. So every moment together is a gift, and you should really treat it that way. Now, I'm sure some of you are tearing your hair out right now hearing this. You're saying, how can I just relax when you've told me that my ex is probably seeing other people right now? And I get it. It's a terrible image. It makes you feel like you could be replaced at any second if they meet somebody who's a little more attractive, a little more charming, more what they want. But I'll tell you why your ex's dating life can actually be a great thing for you right now. Because they're seeing what's out there and it's not looking good. If it was, they'd have dropped you by now and moved on. So the fact that they're still around shows you that you have an edge over all the losers that they've been seeing. And of course you do. You know them super well. You've built up all that comfort and that connection over months or even years. So you know what your ex likes and how you should treat them. You know their history, their secrets, what snacks they like. All this might seem like really basic stuff, but this is exactly what relationships are made of. It's what makes hanging out with a partner or an old friend so much better than a first date. And that's why these new people that your ex is seeing are never going to measure up. They're going to pale in comparison to you because they won't have that easy comfort that the two of you have. And there's also another factor here. Often, if your ex never gets this chance to date after the breakup, then they're going to still have that nagging question. What if there's somebody else better out there? Well, your ex is going to know for sure and for a fact that the dating world is a hellscape and that you're the one for them. Now, if you're wondering what your ex is feeling, you do need to get some more information. But now is really not the time to be asking your ex questions about their feelings. Thankfully, there is another option. I know I mentioned this earlier, but if you go to breakupbrad.com/quiz right now and answer a few questions, in just 5 minutes, you'll have a much better idea of how your ex is feeling and what your chances are of winning them back. It's also going to tell you how to adjust your strategy to better connect with them and make them interested. Again, that's breakupbrad.com/quiz if you really want to understand how your ex is feeling and what your chances are. Now, if you're watching this video, you may be past the point of taking things slow, but I'll say it anyways. If you and your ex have been broken up for less than a month, you shouldn't be too worried that they're not committing to you just yet. In fact, if the two of you have been seeing each other again for less than a month, then you're still in great shape. And honestly, everything is moving forward according to plan. Remember, it takes time to rebuild what the two of you had. You can't expect this to happen in just a couple of hangouts. You need to show them that you're around because you actually want to spend time with them, because you care about them, not just because you're laser focused on, having a boyfriend or a girlfriend again. So if you can slow down, it will take the pressure off both of you, really, and allow you to reconnect in a genuine way without any games or drama. So don't be afraid to pull back, give them space, and let them come to you. Don't bail on your friends, just to see your ex whenever they want. And don't text them back within seconds every time they reach out to you. I know you're probably excited and nervous, but this kind of behavior comes across as desperate and overly intense. So if you can take it a bit easier, they're going to feel more comfortable and be more interested in connecting with you more and more. One of the things that people think about when they consider getting back together with their ex is whether or not things are going to be different this time around. And why would things be any different this time around? You're the same people going through the same motions. So aren't you just going to break up all over again? Well, the truth is that you're not the same people that just broke up. Even if it was just a week ago, the breakup has changed both of you, and it's changed how you look at one another. And if you've followed my advice up to this point, that's not the only thing that will have changed about you. You're going to be better, more accomplished, and happier than you have been in the past. And your ex is going to see this if they're paying attention. And if they don't seem to be getting the message, then you need to change your approach. Think about the issues that the two of you have had in the past. The things that they didn't like about you, the fights you had, the miscommunications that came between you, and make a small but serious effort to move these things in the right direction. It doesn't have to be a huge change. And in fact, it shouldn't. It shouldn't be some massive seismic difference that you're aiming for. You don't want to totally change how they see you. They're already invested in the you that they know. You just need them to see that you're addressing their concerns, even in a small way. This is going to clue them into the fact that you're changing and you're improving as time goes on. So say that your ex, always felt that you were too controlling, that you always had to be in charge and make all the decisions. Well, if you put some attention into asking them what they want for dinner or, what they want to do for a date, that is going to make a big impact. You're not trying to be somebody else. You're still you, but you're a version of yourself that cares enough about them to make some concessions and see their point of view. Remember when we talked about how your ex is getting the milk for free? Well, this is where the boundaries come in. You can't give your ex complete access to your body, your time, and your attention, and then be surprised when they don't want anything to change. So stop letting them take advantage of your feelings for them and start setting boundaries. So maybe you realize that while sleeping with them is nice, you only end up feeling used and lonely afterwards. Then take sex off the table. If they expect you to drive them to work every day and you feel more like a cabbie than a partner, then stop doing it. And if they keep disappearing only to show up whenever they feel like it, then show them that that isn't going to work for you. Now, setting boundaries and expectations like this is going to take something that's almost unthinkable, and that is communication. Now, I know we've talked about how it's best to let your actions do the talking early on in this process if you want to actually build the dynamic that you want with your ex. Now, if you're stuck in limbo, it can be because both you and your ex are afraid to take the next step forward. So you're going to have to break the stalemate here. Think about what you're looking for in this relationship and then take the steps necessary to move it forward. So maybe you wish that they'd sleep over or that you could take a trip somewhere together. Or maybe you're just hoping for, a romantic dinner instead of a late night booty call. But whatever it is that you want, you will have to push for it. I do know this can be a really difficult step to take because no one likes putting themselves out there. But if you and your ex really are stuck and have been for some time, then this may be your best option to get them to see that you do want more and that you are willing to reach for it. Now, your ex may not be sure at first, but your ability to take the chance is going to be attractive to them and show them that you are interested in moving things forward. Now, this isn't going to apply to every situation, but it's often a very effective strategy if your ex is failing to commit to you or even to take you seriously. So maybe you feel really stuck and they keep giving you the runaround, telling you that it's just not the right time or they're not sure. Or maybe they're friendly one minute and cold the next and you don't know how to get through to them. Then you need to take a step back and give them some more space. Remember, you need something to change if you want to change your relationship with your ex. And if they're not treating you right, then removing yourself from the situation might be the step you need to take. And when you take a step back, dodge their messages and give them time and space to think, they're going to see how empty their life is without you in it. And really, that's what this whole video has been about. Showing them that you are their best option and that you bring them happiness. So don't be afraid to show them that if you suddenly disappeared, all that's left for them is going to be sadness and boredom. And that's it for this one, guys. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you're looking for more help or your situation is, particularly unique or unusual, then please go to breakupbrad.com/coaching to connect with me directly, and we'll figure out a solution together. But before you go, please like this video, subscribe, and leave me a comment down below. Compliments, questions, hate comments, I love it all. Best of luck, guys. See you next time.